paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying, I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. Now, as I understand it, some of you had some, let's just say, reactions to my mostly posty Malone ranty. But you know what? I'm glad I talked about it because it broke Whatnot. The app broke when old Posty tried to get on there, and you maybe not compete for $100,000 against somebody. Remains to be seen, I suppose. But hey, thanks for all the interaction on YouTube, everybody. Keep the comments coming. We did read them all, even those of you who said not nice things. But you know what? I'm back this week, and so are you. Thanks for being here. And you're here with me and DJ and Jason, who looks like he's pouring a beer as we speak.
We had a bit of a blowout.
Or doing something else with his hands off screen that we don't want to know about. But anyways, DJ, what's up with you, man?
I'm good. I went rock climbing this week. That was good.
Back on the how's it feel? Like, how did it feel to get out and do physical activity?
Very good. I got to teach a friend how to boulder. That was nice. And
So when you roll into a ball, you get into a ball and you roll down a hill.
yeah,
I'm
it's
a
like a
boulder!
combination of like a Sonic ability in Super Smash Bros. And then like a Rammus Q from League of Legends. You just kind of combine those two chakras with like an ability from Naruto, and then you just kind of like head bash the other player until somebody gets knocked out of a ring.
Speaking of Whatnot, by the way, this is the first topic I want to hit you all with this week because I'm not sure if you all have seen this news.
Wait,
And
Corbin,
this
I
is
have a Whatnot question.
What now? Not now. Not now.
What now art thou, Romeo?
What
do you want?
Have those magic cards behind you not moved at all in the past week?
Not.
Bro, there's a new pile. Like, there's a new pile next to them. And over here, there's a pile of everything that's now going to be buy listable. And these sit here because I don't have any more 5 rows.
My piles have moved because my cat likes to jump up on the table where I keep my sorting trays.
Look what I found, though. Yeah. Got some.
Parallel lives?
Those
Speaking of,
lives.
That's
I
your fault
haven't-
for having a can of Red Bull in your house.
I have a quick MTG finance tip, everybody.
This is where victim blaming is okay.
You see this? This is a Red Bull. You see this? This is Parallel Lives. There's one thing, when you have these two things together, you do not want to do. And that's this. You don't ever want to get droplets on your Parallel Lives. It will lower the value.
Corbin,
So make
lick it
sure
off.
not to do that.
How
Corbin,
much does
drink-
a can of Red Bull cost? $3?
Yeah.
It should increase the value of the parallel lives by $3 because it has $3 worth of
That's
Red
the
Bull.
transitive property, yeah.
That's how. I mean, it makes sense.
It's just math.
The economy can't destroy value. It's just transferred, right? Like energy.
Yeah.
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 That
The
makes
law
sense
of
to me.
conservation of
And
value.
like energy is just mana.
Hmm.
So
Uh-huh.
Imagine
And
like
it-
being a crypto bro and believing the law of conservation of value. Just be like, my apes can't go to 0. I spent all this money on slurp juice. The value's got to go somewhere, and I own the link to the picture of the ape. Oh, I've been hacked. I don't own the link to the picture of the ape anymore. All my
You got
apes-
You got bagged, son. I believe is what the parlance is. Yeah. If
My
someone
slurp
took-
juices.
What if we
Tokens
started
were-
using? Listen, what if we started using NFT crypto bro terms in finance? What if like every time a card got reprinted, instead of being like, "Yep, that sucks," we were like, "You got bagged, bro. You got bagged by wizards."
All right,
Wizards is funging the tokens.
I'm calling this a hodl this week.
This is my
I got
hodl.
diamond
hodl of
hands
the-
on parallel
Yeah.
lives. All right, bro, diamond hands.
Yeah, this is my hodl of the week, y'all.
Now let's play paper hands
You
or
know,
diamond hands, bro.
Listen, it's not even the worst segment, the hodl of the week. The card's not worth money, but will be in 5 years. It's like pick of
This
the
show
week
is
without
brought
any
to you by our
pressure.
sponsor, Dad's Money and Cocaine.
I see that. Listen, we're clearly off the rails tonight. We tried to get going earlier, but you know what? We're here now.
We don't
got
have
some
enough
after
topics.
hours.
Let's just read some emails.
For those of you who go to patreon.com/BSB, you can get in touch with us. Send us emails that we will answer on the cast. If you are a patron,
eventually,
you can
send
get access
send him
to
to Corbin at okc.edu, and he'll find them on his fucking 2011 laptop where he keeps all the From the Vault emails.
something like that. Yeah, it's a pretty
See Hostler at
accurate process.
okc.edu. I think
None
that
of this
was
is
the
correct. Stop doxing me. None of this is accurate. You can send your emails to brainstormbrew@gmail.com. Please do.
I will dox your 13 years ago college email if I want, motherfucker. I'll do what I want.
JJ, when Jason says that email address, put it on the screen in like wavy, like bolded font.
Only every
like
time
a
he says,
wingding style, like just,
yeah, and every time he changes how he says it, just put up some new font.
Hostler C87.
Just meme that shit all
Okay,
over the
preps.
screen. All right,
Corbin at normantranscript.com.
All right, let's go. I got this thing going.
that was close, wasn't it?
Cast Gills Take Pills at gmail.com.
That's a good one, dude. I've never heard. That's fucking good, dude. Holy shit. All right, speaking of magic, going mainstream here with Post Malone breaking the internet with magic, we're going to hit you before we move into breaking bulk.
Wait, hey, the entire point of bringing up the Post Malone thing was why, Corbin? Say it. Why did I want you to talk about Post Malone? Because DJ's like, I don't care about that. We don't need to talk about it. But I said we need to bring up the Post Malone thing because it got Post-Ma-Poned.
Our long national nightmare continues.
They were going to do it last week. They got Post-Ma-Poned. Corbin.
You're going to break
Corbin.
me, man. You're going to fucking break me. I have
Corbin.
children, and it's going to be you. Sometimes I think I'd rather get shit on by my baby than listen to these fucking puns. All right. So speaking of whatnot, and all the after hours we just recorded, but speaking of whatnot, there was another bit that came up of news that came up from that platform recently. So for those who don't know, you should go check out the episode on whatnot we did a while back.
What was it called?
What was the episode name and number and URL exactly? Case sensitive.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but unironically, JJ do that and put it on the screen.
It was the episode with Nessa, but I don't remember which one it was.
Was it Nessa or Zebex?
It was Nessa.
It was Nessa. Zebex hasn't been on the show.
Oh, we should correct that.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah, she's
Her
nice.
family owns an LGS.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool.
Okay, here we go.
It's in Eugene, Oregon. I don't know the name of it. So go to Eugene, Oregon and go to all the LGSs until you see her. Oh,
So
no, wait. People are going to kill her because she's a woman. Never mind. Don't do any of that.
So somebody was opening up a case of Double Masters 2, whatever we're going to call that, 2x2 cases. And apparently, 57 of the 64 packs had an anguished unmaking in the etched foil slot. So, yay for randomized print runs.
Well, this has happened before. Like, we've had this exact situation. Magic Zoomers might not know, but this has been a thing for many years. Just certain print runs of certain sets. Just this happens to. I think there was one like Modern Masters 2015 and like Precursor Golem. It's one of those things where it probably doesn't make the news as much if it's like an insanely valuable card. The person just pockets them all and sells them all, right? Like if it's all Imperial Seal, you don't hear about it as much.
Yeah,
But if it's anguished unmaking,
well, what's interesting is
feeling real anguish.
Yeah, I mean, anguished unmaking was worth a lot of money for a while. It was like $10, right? So
it was, but
on one hand, I want to be like, oh, you shouldn't feel bad about that, but you're opening a $20 pack, so maybe you should. You know,
I mean, anguished unmaking was worth money before the reprint.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like at one point it was a $10 card, and now it's just plummeting. So yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting. Now it continues. Other people actually continued with this and had the same experiences. Specifically, if you have, it looks like a case number that begins with 217. It looks like that seems to be the common denominator here. Anyway, I don't know. It's a little weird for sure. It's happened before. I will say that in the year of our Lord 2022, it probably shouldn't be happening.
Oh, correct. Yeah, it's almost certainly a result of just like increased print demand and them trying to like speed up production. There's
But like, what do you think actually? So for people who don't know, and then speaking of previous episodes, we went really, really deep into the printing process of Magic cards on an episode years back with a guy named Travis who's pretty deep into that sort of side of the game. So you can probably search back in the YouTube one and find that if you want. But the thing is, there's a lot of steps that go into the printing process. You know, you've seen an uncut sheet. A lot goes through that and a collating process and all of this stuff so that they can try to make their boxes random and unmappable and all of this stuff. So for something to happen where multiple people are reporting this big of an error, I don't know. I don't like. It's hard for me to kind of fathom what actually leads to that in the printer, you know, because is it as simple as one person throwing the wrong pile of something into a machine? I don't know.
I have to assume it is almost entirely automated, and it is less likely a person putting something somewhere and more likely like somebody fat fingering a digit on a keyboard.
Possible. Yeah.
It's something that we're almost never going to see the light of day in terms of the inside of the factory and how the sausage gets made, just because of obviously proprietary information and counterfeiting risks. Yeah. But it's neat. It's a neat story. I don't think it impacts the overall health of the sealed product in general. Like, I don't think people will shy away from it because of a TikTok or a Reddit post of like, oh man, one person opened all their rares were this one rare. Again, because I mentioned it's like some people might want that box because they might want to gamble for the right. 30 Imperial seals. They're right. like, oh, that's more enticing.
Well, and it seems like there's some more information here is that one of the foils had a big X over one of them, one of the cards in the box. So, you know, maybe it's an issue of these were meant to be a test print. You know, we were lining up the printer or whatever, right? And then they didn't get thrown out. That, like, there's all kinds of weird things that happen inside print shops. And that's why you sometimes get these, you know, super grainy images of people who just really, really have to smuggle out that uncommon from the Magic set number 1412 this year or whatever. So anyway, yeah, it's an interesting bit of news. I'll say that, but never as interesting as our breaking bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Where every week I bring the most interesting picks, the best picks, the most unguessable picks ever to be breaking bulked for Jason and DJ. And I'm going to continue that trend today with a green uncommon for Modern Horizons 2.
What was it originally in?
Modern Horizons 2.
Yeah, but what was it originally in?
One printing.
Okay. What set?
Modern Horizons 2.
But what was it in originally?
You're stalling, Jason. And I'm not. That's not a criticism. Keep stalling. Like,
is it tireless
please,
provisioner?
you're doing a good job.
Is it
stalling.
a creature or a non-creature?
It's a creature.
Is it tireless provisioner?
No.
Is it a squirrel?
Not exact. No, it is not a squirrel. Yes, it has the word squirrel on it.
I was gonna say like Timeless Witness was my first guess.
Does it have a picture of a squirrel, or is the word squirrel in the card somewhere?
The words on this card. Whenever one or more +1 counters are put on this creature, you may create a 1/1 green squirrel token.
The Baloth thing.
It has evolve. No, it's actually it is. You guys are clearly not going to get this. It is Scurry Oak. It's a 3-mana 1/2 tree folk with evolve, and then whenever one or more +1 counters are placed on it, you create a squirrel. It's a
what is
combo.
this buy list
I
for?
thought it was a Bailoff whenever you put a.
No, this is a break. This is one of those breaking bulk picks of the week because it's a 50-cent uncommon right now. That's sort of been slowly climbing. So this is one of those that's sort of like right on the edge, but it combos with Heliod very effectively online. I've run into this deck many times on Arena, so it seems reasonable to me to expect a card like that to maybe have some opportunity.
is 35 cents.
Cool Stuff has these for a nickel.
Cool Stuff has them for a nickel.
Buy list is a nickel.
Oh, well, I'm gonna buy the 5 cent copies.
All right, is this the classic DJ criticism of a nickel buy list card?
It's a nickel retail, bro.
It's a nickel on Card Kingdom's buy list, max quantity 105.
Well, they can
You
take
tell
the
me.
5
You tell me if
copies
we
I
pick
just bought
nickels.
from Cool Stuff.
Yeah, you tell me if we
baby.
pick nickels on this cast or not.
I do not pick nickels anymore.
I
will
pay
say
somebody
that.
to pick nickels. My 6-year-old daughter picks nickels.
It's why I called it a breaking bulk of the pick of the week. It is it's a combo card that I've run into many times on Arena, and particularly with Heliod being a popular deck in formats. This seems to, because the life gain, it's a Soul Warden combo, right? So Heliod, Soul Warden, and Scurry Oak goes infinite. When you can introduce some life gain with Heliod. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's a sweet little card. I'm sure you haven't noticed about it. You'll forget about it, and then it'll pop up in a combo deck, and it'll go from a nickel buy list to something else, hopefully. But that is my unguessable one. Nickel buy list.
Nickel buy list. It can't possibly be
36 cents. It is a
I'm
36
gonna
cents market
arbitrage
price.
these when they're 6 cents.
36 cents market price, 50-cent TCG median, and a
Is that
nickel buy
36
list.
cents?
TCG
free
median is not a
shipping?
number.
The buy list is a nickel, man. DJ, you innovated buy listing nickels on this show.
When?
Oh,
10 years ago?
10 years ago.
When the nickel back then is worth $1 now? Like,
Inflation.
Did you just... Was this a bit so you could say Nickelback on this cast and I would have to just pretend that I hate Nickelback? When
That's
in
what-
reality...
You
I've
like
only
them as
had-
much as I like Imagine
Nickelback's
Dragons.
I've only had good memories associated with Nickelback, so...
yeah, look at this photograph.
Every time I do... it
But like
makes
that's
me
a good
think of
meme, man.
The
Nickelback gave us a
Spider-Man
meme.
1 soundtrack.
Yeah, dude, that's a good one, bro. That one was a banger. Yeah. Just so you know, though, that wasn't Nickelback, Jason.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Hero. Nickelback.
Uh huh. No.
Was it just Chad Kroger?
Uh huh.
Fuck out of here.
That's
God, you would know that.
That's how I
You
learned the
would
lead singer of
correct me on
Nickelback,
some
bro.
Nickelback lore, wouldn't you?
That's how I learned
When
the
I'm
lead singer.
pretending I like them more than I do, and you're like, well, when I saw them in concert.
Look, they're
the
no
rest of the
Imagine
band
Dragons.
grabbed a
They're no
drink.
Imagine Dragons live. I'll say that. But
Jesus Christ.
He admitted it.
Photograph. Look at this fucking cast. Every time I do it sucks ass.
that is how we feel this week. We're just having fun this week. It's back to school week. We're being a little silly, so we thank you for being with us.
All right. Speaking of never again, this card was printed before, but not like this. When it was reprinted in Conspiracy, can you tell me this green Conspiracy common?
Would you like to tell us?
Copperline Scout?
No,
Would you like to
it's
tell
not a
us?
creature.
Would
It's
you
a
like?
Nature's
creature.
Claim?
No.
Its
Its original printing was Future.
The regenerate one, wrap around or wrap away or something like that.
Rap
It's
and
not wrap
vigor.
around.
Rap and vigor.
Wrap and vigor.
It is Rap and Vigor. It's a buck. It's a
That we
buck.
got that we teamed up on that one. Good work, team.
2 printings and it's $1 and it's a card that's not very good. I don't know why people like it.
It's a 60 card casual card.
It's in
Yeah, that's cool.
16,259
So, like, this is-
decks on EDH Rec. Maybe that is a thing.
I like to call this like an arms race card. This is a card where somebody gets into Magic, and then they make their first elf deck, and then they beat their friend who's just has like a pile of red nonsense or whatever. And then the friend is like, oh, I should put the card Pyroclasm in my deck. And then they go buy like 4 Pyroclasms. And then you lose, and then you go buy 4 Rapid Vigors.
It back in my day, it was resuscitate, so elf decks play it so they could tap for the mana to resuscitate themselves.
Well, look at it. I mean, look at it this way. Rap and vigor is a very, very, very budget breaking bulk substitute, or not breaking bulk. What do you call sudden substitution here for heroic intervention, right? 2 mana green instant that saves your creatures from a wrath. One of them's $13, one of them's 13 cents or whatever, right? So yeah, Rapid Vigor is pretty sweet.
I have a multicolor Apocalypse uncommon.
I don't know what's in that set.
Apocalypse.
Is it a Razor?
Uncommon.
Is Razorfin Hunter?
No, that's common.
Actually, I think it's
Holy
uncommon.
shit,
Let me
is that
double-
from
Is
the
it
right
Quicksilver
set?
Dagger? What is it? A creature or not?
I'm double checking. The rare.
Razorfin
Like
Hunter
half
is a
that set was
common.
multicolor.
It is
bro.
uncommon. Okay. Yep. It double. Apocalypse multicolor uncommon, and it has how many printings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 printings.
Is it always
Aura
uncommon?
shards?
Corbin, that
No.
was invasion.
Same block.
Is it a creature?
No.
That helps. Is it the no? How many printings?
1, 2, 7.
A bunch. A bunch.
Multiple.
6, 7.
Okay.
So what is it, like an uncommon, multicolored uncommon that's been in a bunch of supplemental sets and shit that was originally in Apocalypse?
Correct.
Yeah, it's been in like dual decks and shit probably.
I don't know that I know that set.
Okay, so
super
fun.
well.
Here's another fun one. The original printing of this card is $3. The most recent printing of this card is 20 cents. So you can get the most recent one for like $1 for a playset. The OG one has a premium.
Is it split?
Yep,
What is that?
Fire and Ice?
it is Fire and Ice. The
Oh,
old border
this card-
Fire and Ice is
Oh, shit.
$3 for the Apocalypse one. You can get a Modern Horizons 2 playset for like under $1.
Oh,
so
wow.
if you
Okay.
find this in MH2 bulk wares, you can just straight up pass it. But if you see the Apocalypse one, you should pick it.
MH2 is a quarter on TCG Player.
Oh, that's crazy. It was a rare in MH2.
Yeah,
huh,
MH2,
okay.
yeah.
Huh. I didn't realize that, but,
like
but yeah.
it's a scourge in limited.
Well, yeah, that's probably
MH2
true.
specifically. They're like, here's creatures for legacy. It's just like, okay, I owned Ragavan with a common. I did it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about limited, but Fire seems pretty annoying there. What's interesting about
Imagine
Fire
paying
and
$100
Ice?
for a booster pack, and that's your rare.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about Fire and Ice is the thing is it's been a card for a long time. It's been a legacy playable for a long time. 10 years ago, it was worth $1 or whatever, right? The last 5 years, it's been not a pick. It's been worthless. And then they put it into Modern, and all of a sudden you see the Apocalypse version jump up to $3-4 from nothing, even though it's a rare in a new set. Just putting it into the format made people want to get the originals. So I think, yeah, that's a good pick, and that's pretty interesting sort of like case study in how reprints can affect card prices, I guess.
The F&M promo is like 20.
Yeah, see, and look, the thing is, I if we look at other lessons to take from this, look, you mean anytime a Horizon set comes up, yeah, you could theoretically look for the same thing, or a card that gets reprinted into a format like Leyline of the Void would maybe be an example from back in the day.
A really interesting example of this that is more dangerous and kind of a bait is Absorb from Ravnica Allegiance. When Absorb got put in a standard in Ravnica Allegiance, the original one spiked, and so did the foils theoretically. I mean, obviously there was a big rush for them and people bought them out. But like that card is just so unsellable. Like
the foil specifically, or the non-foil even.
I mean, both really. Like I'm sure there were a few people who picked up the OG ones to play in standard with, but like
they're worth money now. Yeah,
nobody wants that card. Like I've had people bring that card up to me at events, and they're like, "Hey, I had this Invasion foil one sitting in my binder. Now TCG says it's 80. Will you pay me 40 on it?" And no, I can't sell that card. It was sitting in the case for 20 or 30 or whatever pre RNA, and nobody's gonna pay 80 for it. That's not a thing. So
that's a really good example. Yeah, really.
It just gives people a false pretense of value, and it's weird because like the Fire and Ice one doesn't. Like the Fire and Ice F&M foil does sell because people foil out their modern decks, and that's a real thing that people do. But nobody wants an old Invasion foil just because it's in standard now.
You're right. So what's interesting there is that we're seeing Absorb. I went and looked it up when you talked about this. It's actually fascinating to look at because you can see the hard spike in 2019 when it was reprinted into standard, right? Like DJ
Corbin, wait, I'm trying to look up Absorb, and I'm googling it. I'm searching on all these Yahoos and asked you, where are you finding all this data?
That's a good question, DJ. That's a good point. The best place I have found to get the data is mtgstocks.com. That is where we get all of our picks of the week, all of our breaking bolts.
M is in Mancy, T is in Tristan, G is in...
That's what the army
Giraffe.
says. That's what the army says right there. Yep.
Okay.
G is in Gerund.
G is in Jared. G is in Jerry.
G is in Geritol.
Oh wow, they have graphs here. They have
You mean giraffes?
they have giraffes and graphs. Like
They got
like a
whatever
GIF
you
gift
want.
made.
MTG Stocks has all the best information, and if you check out the premium side, you can get price
oh
alerts.
wow, I have this premium tab here that I've
Check it out,
never-
DJ. You can get price alerts. There's trends, expanded interests, underpriced cards.
Price
you
alerts
can get
to
insights.
my mobile device.
Anything you want. Check out MTG Stocks Premium. Speaking of MTG Stocks, now that you bring it up, DJ, what a coincidence. They are the generous sponsor of this podcast. Please go check them out. And it is where I'm currently looking at the card Absorb.
Observe.
I'm a
Ermagurdy cursed observe.
I'm a professional talker, okay? Back off, okay? Absorb. So the original version was worth it wasn't worthless, you know, it was worth several dollars for a long
How
time.
much
But then
was
it
that
spiked.
version of observe?
It spiked hard with Ravnica Allegiance when it came out. And then, like DJ said, it's hard to sell. It was just a very, very long climb down there for the card after. It actually bottomed out back at $4, which is very close to where it started, right?
Is that the one with
This
the
was
bird
earlier this year. And
it?
then we have the return of Paper Play, Magic 30 announced, Pioneer blowing up, and your Invasion Absorbs are back up to almost $10. So, Modern, Pioneer, those formats seem to matter.
Is
I
this
thought
card
the
played
bird
for
version
those
of
formats?
observe was the
I
best
believe
version.
that it is a. I don't know as much about Modern. I would guess it's probably not super played in Modern per se, but I do believe it is played in Pioneer. Blue White's a real deck in Pioneer for sure. So yeah,
It's also a good candidate for like one of those edgy flavor text competitions that people do with counter spells. The invasion one.
What
your
is it? Yeah.
presumption is your downfall.
I'm calling it Shmi.
Ari, did I break your concentration? I don't remember what card that's from, but I feel like that's like the
Is it from the card Concentrate?
I doubt it.
Break Concentration? Is it from that one?
My favorite edgy counterspell flavor text is on Last Word from Darksteel. Someday someone will best me, but it won't be today and it won't be you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've actually that's a good enough one. I've
That's
actually
like
had that
that's
quoted to
one
me.
tier above nothing personnel, kid. That's
Well, that one
painfully
is
bad.
at least popular because I have heard that one quoted.
I
to me
think Powers
before.
Booth said that in a John Claude Van Damme movie. That's how bad that.
Oh, look, it's clearly a recycled thing, right? But
Force of Negation's pretty good too. You can try if you must. That's some Naruto quote.
yeah, I have a buddy who was really into
That's my
counter spells.
ninja way. Believe it.
Yeah, he used to always hit me with whatever card is like your spell was your spell was terribly ineffective. It was, however, quite pretty.
Yeah.
It's a counter that I don't know what spell it's on, but something like that.
Every fucking edgelord who plays Magic the Gathering is like, I'm definitely Demir. Like anybody who self-identifies as a Demir unironically says shit like that.
Do you guys even read the flavor text on cards when you look at them?
Fuck no, dude.
Yes.
I don't either. I don't.
Absolutely.
PJ does?
I do it so I can quiz you guys on it later.
Vorthos over here. He's always looking for his next Jeopardy game. Am I right?
DJ's read one flavor text and it was C's claim, and he was like so charmed by it that he's like, I'm gonna read more flavor text, and he hasn't. What's the flavor text on Gallagrators, DJ?
That's a
Gallagher's
pop
being
question.
a-
That's a trick question because the card
Yeah.
exists in like 12 languages and it's
Yeah,
flavor
there's
text.
too much text on it.
Yeah. It's
was
in
like-
Streets of
they're
New
like-
Capenna.
We don't want to pay people to write flavor text anymore. Can't we just put so much card text on there?
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
So
So it's
Gallagher's
called the
is
questing beast. We got to write a story that tells you how the questing beast fits into Magic's storyline, but we don't really. It's like fuck it, just give him keyword abilities until there's no room for flavor text.
well, and then
Come on,
they
you wizards.
they just put words in there. That card has so many words that aren't even they outstripped their keyword abilities and just started making up new things.
Yeah, it's like they filibustered their own card.
I saw the text list one going around a while back on Twitter, and that's legitimately funny.
Fuck me, that's so funny.
Oh yeah,
That's actually funny. But yeah, Gallic readers.
The Omnath tweet I made.
Yes, that's right. DJ's was perfect.
Well,
yeah,
people were bitching about Omnath. I'm like, Omnath is easier to remember than Cryptic Command, and that was like one of Wizard's first textless cards. So
yeah. So Gallic readers, by the way, is the 2-mana 1/1 from New Capenna. It has the ability Alliance, which is also just whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, choose one that hasn't yet been chosen. Put a 1/1 counter on it. Create a tapped treasure token. Gain 2 life. It's a pretty meh card. It's certainly not powerful, right? But it's like whatever. But Jason, you said this card's kind of tearing up EDH rec stats right now?
No. I said it was in a surprising number of decks.
Okay, well then let me read it.
No. Leave it.
Okay, we'll leave it. Tell me about
What you get
Gallagher,
for not listening
Jason.
to me. Gallagher, what is
Been
this
listening-
segment?
This is the Jason tells me about Gallagher. I don't know, man. You brought it up. I thought you wanted to talk about it.
Making it awkward.
So
Taking
because
something from the pre-game cast.
okay,
out
so
of
neither of
context.
these two have any words to say about Gallic readers.
No,
I do.
JJ
because
cut all. Stop. Just JJ cut all that shit. Jason brought it up. I thought you wanted to talk about it.
No.
Not before the cast. Like 5 minutes ago, you did.
No, I brought up you don't know Gallagher's flavor text because I brought
Yeah,
it
I
up
thought
in
you
the
were going to
cast.
talk about Gallagher.
It doesn't have flavor text.
I understand. I didn't look at the card to know.
I was going to talk about how the card, the different languages are different availability.
Okay, great. Well, then in that case,
Reintroduce the Gallagher.
I'll just do the end part of this. Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. We're uncanceling the Gallagher's conversation. It's back on. It's back on.
You know, a more professional show would just decline to release an episode this week, but not us. You get this. You get this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'd say we haven't.
If this episode does really well and we get lots of positive feedback, we may have been podcasting wrong for 11 years, and that's embarrassing.
Sure.
Have we just been not giving the people what they want this whole time?
That's it. We just needed. Yeah. Anyways, DJ, talk about please rescue us.
So one interesting thing about this card, I guess the main niche of this card is that it has 11 different artworks and 11 different languages, and 3 of those languages are now discontinued in Magic. The Chinese, traditional, Russian, and Korean are no longer going to be printed, but that sort of presents an interesting little situation with this thing, and there's been a lot of supply issues with international cards. There's been a lot of just cards that haven't gotten into players' hands. Russia, obviously, famously, just hasn't gotten basically any Magic product for a while. And that's reflected in the ability to find this card. So if you're somebody that likes to complete a global playset or like a copy of every card in every language, that's not really possible for Gallic readers right now, at least to my knowledge. Like, you just can't get certain versions of this card, and certain languages are very expensive. So, like, if you want the Korean one, I mean, they're very, very expensive right now. They're very hard to find because the supply is just such a big issue. And I don't think that's going to be an issue with going forward with normal Magic cards. We talked about this on the cast where that was the announcement, where it's like, oh, no more Korean cards, no more Russian cards. What does that mean? I don't think, like, you're going to find like $100 Korean cards going forward. Like, I don't think that old Korean cards are going to spike. But just like this Gallic Readers is a good example of that, where the English one is a dime a dozen, and you can. I had people reach out to me, like I had 10 people reach out to me or something about the sealed pre-release promo pack, because I have that wacky commander deck that I'm building. They're like, hey, you have a Gallic Readers yet? And I'm like, no, I'm good. It's like a cheap one. Somebody already gave me one. But like, nobody did that with Russian or Korean, and like they're just impossible to find. So it's just one of those cards where, like, normally you get a card, oh, the English one's $1, oh, the Russian one's like 50 cents, whatever. But like, if you stumble across a non-English Gallic readers, I would do some research into the price. Like, I would check Card Market, I would check eBay completed listings. This is not just one where you can look up a single data point like TCG Player and be like, oh yeah, this one's 100. Like, it's just not a card you can do that with. It's a very unique card in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't consider a few years ago, Rivals of Ixalan, they did a game day promo of Silvergill Adept, which was really neat, full art thing. And I got the Russian ones because I was like, this is the version I want in my deck. This is cool. Now it's a discontinued language, so that's kind of neat. All right, so moving on. Coming up soon is the set Dominaria United. I think we're all pretty excited about this one. Even though it feels like it's kind of flown under the radar all year. It feels like for Dominaria, right? Like a big return to Dominaria and this...
You just said Dominaria and Dominaria.
I know. I've got my bases covered, DJ. Professionality. You can't make fun of me for saying it wrong if I say it every way. It means I said it right. In one of them. So Dominaria is where they're going back in the next set. So that'll be pretty neat. But the big thing, of course, we talked about was the secret legends cards that are being given away. But of course, they only come in collector boosters, and they only come in like 3 to 5% of the packs or something like that. So your odds of actually
3%.
Yeah, 3%. So your odds of pulling a legends card are very low. Your odds of pulling a good legends card are, of course, even lower. So one store has stepped into the void and said that we will sell our Minoria United booster boxes for slightly more than average, but
you didn't pronounce it weird. You just did a dumb guy voice.
But we will have a Legends guarantee, and every box you buy comes with a Legends card, no matter what. Did you all know that Legends cards, despite some of them being worth quite a bit of money, some of them aren't worth very much at all? So I have to say I appreciate the capitalism they're doing there, as we're going to include a Legends card in every pack, no matter what. Will it be a 40-cent card, a Cyclopean mummy? Probably. But it might not be. Could be a giant slug instead.
I'd be very curious to the public drop rates of that.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think even if you sell like repacks on eBay, you have to guarantee at least like you have to post some number of odds.
Your poll rates.
Yeah.
That would actually, I mean, that's useful, right? That's kind of a thing, right? At a lot of LGSs or even at conventions, they'll give the kind of grab bag approach where one, whatever the vending machine approach, right, where you can put it in, and one of the cards in there is a Jason the Mind Sculptor, and the rest of them are not worth anything. But there you go. If you just really, really wanted some Legends cards with the next set. So, all right. Well, before we get out of here this week, I know it's been a bit of a journey. We thank you all for staying with us. And if you have had so much fun that you want to represent this cast out in public, if you want to go out and say, hey, I listened to this train wreck of a podcast, and you should too. It's called Brainstorm Brewery. The best way to do that is to wear our merch, which you can get, of course, at Coalesce Apparel, where you will find our shirts, our hoodies, t-shirts, anything you want there, as well as all of your other favorite creators. And the great thing about Coalesce Apparel is that you can use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery, and you can use that to get a discount, not just on our products, but on any of your favorite content creators' products there on the website. Cedric Phillips has done an amazing job building up the team, building up the site, building up the product. So please go check out Coalesce Apparel. Use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery. Okay, with that said, it is time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
It's where I say, hey, Jason, you know what card is $8 but shouldn't be? It's Sword of Hearth and Home.
Oh my god. That's $8 still?
Yeah.
My goodness gracious, have you ever played? You know why? The card's good, but no one cares about Pro White and Pro Green.
Yep.
But like they should. Because every creature in EDH is green.
Well, and it's just, I mean, it's a sword, right? So I guess I could be wrong on what that should or shouldn't mean, but it feels like it should mean something. Now,
honestly, all the swords that were printed after like 2010 are underrated. Like the red-black one is really good. Even the blue-white one's pretty good. Like I don't, whatever it is, people are just, I don't know.
I think there's a
like,
limited
this
number
is bullshit. I got a sword as my rare. Ooh, I was hoping for
there's a limited number of deck slots, and I think most people will default to the more powerful
very good ones.
Well, look, swords.
But the red-black one destroys a goddamn planeswalker. Like,
well, in the swords. Just also sort of don't fall in where they did 15 years ago when they came out with Darksteel or whatever set they were first in.
Well, if you,
Because
if you look
these
at the
days you
equipment,
get your Stoneforge doesn't need to fetch up one of 3 different swords. You're going to go to Batter School and a Cauldra Complete, which is just. I played against that card the other day in Modern, and I was like, wait a minute, this has so many words I didn't know about, and I knew about a lot of them. So yeah, I mean, look,
Complete just farts on you. Like people like Shadow Spear is so good. Like nobody even cares about swords. I get it.
Yeah, but for Commander and just the fact that look, there's even some cool versions of this card. I just think that, and it just feels like a $10 card to me. I mean, it's a mythic for Modern Horizons. It's been climbing up off the bottom, which is specifically why I made this pick. It had bottomed out around $7. It's back up to $8, a little above that. So I think we probably hit the bottom on sort of Hearth and Home, and I guess this is a good test to see if being a sword means anything.
If you've ever put that on a creature and swung with it, you're like, oh, this is fun. I like this.
Yeah.
The big thing with Modern Horizons 2 is that the supply is so high.
Yeah. For sure.
There's still just a lot of Modern Horizons 2 sealed product out there, and it's still just something that people continuously crack because the EV is decent enough, and you get a decent number of like hits like Solitude and Murktide Regents, and the arbitrage for those cards is so good overseas that like a lot of the other mythics just they need to like the supply needs to dry up. Like the demand's just not there yet compared to the massive number of boxes out there.
Yep. And that's why I like, we've talked a lot about on this cast. One of our favorite strategies is to not to try to predict a bottom and buy in at the 0% bottom, right? The all the way down.
Yes.
We want to just watch it, find the bottom, and then buy in when it's 5% above the bottom, and that's kind of where I see sort of Hearth and Home. I don't know the rate of growth on it or anything like that, but yeah, if nothing else, if you're somebody who has fun with swords and Commander, get yours before it goes above $10.
Sure. So
DJ, go ahead.
My pick it's been a while since these were reprinted. The Ice Age Painlands.
Okay.
Haven't been printed in a very long time. Some of them more than others. I mean, they're a little weird. Like they don't always get printed as a cycle for some reason. Some of them get put in some Commander decks.
So this is like Battlefield Forge, that cycle, right?
No, it's the Ice Age ones. You're thinking of the Apocalypse ones.
Okay, so which is the Ice Age than the other cycle?
The
right?
Allied.
Yeah.
So it's a Darker Waste, Carplusan Forest, Underground River, that cycle. And it's been a while since they've been reprinted, at least for most of them at least. But I'm mostly picking these for pre-modern. Old school Magic is a format that boomed very, very big a few years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of very old and expensive cards spiked. CE and IE stuff went crazy. Collector's Edition, International Edition, gold border cards, just a lot of very, very old Magic cards that people had a lot of nostalgia for, went very high. And I mean, to this day, old school is still a played format. There's a very large and active Discord around it. There are still in-person tournaments.
I'm sure that Magic 30 will have a big one.
I'm sure that COVID kind of
Magic 30 will have a big old school
the
tournament for
school
sure.
community.
Well, I mean, like LobsterCon, I think, had like a 200-person in-person tournament, which was like very large for a format where you play with power.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And as Magic ages and continues to age, I think that pre-modern, which is that sort of sweet spot of like Ice Age through Scourge, like the pre-8th edition era, is
so everything. So when you say pre-modern, you mean just cards that are not legal in modern.
Cards that are not legal in modern, and also cards that are not legal in old school.
Okay.
So like the format starts at Ice Age.
Gotcha.
It does not start with revised or unlimited. So no dual lands, but you get your fetch lands, but you can't fetch shock lands with your fetch lands. So like the mana bases are more interesting. You get to play like Survival of the Fittest and Mox Diamond. I think a lot of those are still pretty decent picks, but specifically I'm looking at mana bases right now, and the Ice Age Pain lands are just one of the cores to that sort of strategies and like the colors that you're playing in that format.
Yeah,
like Red Green Goblins is very good in this format. Carplusan Forest is good in Red Green Goblins, that kind of thing. So like it's just something to keep your eye on, even if you're just a Commander player, if you're just somebody that plays Modern, or if you're somebody that just plays Pioneer. There's this era of like 1995 to 2002 that like is that nostalgia point for a lot of players, and we're coming up on that era as like just the grand scale of Magic shifts another
it's it's the next format to have a moment.
It is, and like it doesn't have to be the next big thing that's played at Pro Tours. It doesn't have to be
Right.
this like huge grand monster of a thing that replaces existing formats. It just has to have like enough lasting interest to have a Discord server with a couple thousand people in it.
Yeah, you're right. And you know, another thing that goes for the Painlands, shifting to other formats here, but they are something I've always kind of had my eye on as a spec possibility, just because of the fact that, you know, Eldrazi Winter was a thing. They're going to do Eldrazi again. Colorless Mana
like
is likely to return.
Them being
and
like
at that
color
point,
lands, effectively.
right? And
When
at
are
that
they
point, these
gonna
will be
learn?
three. There'll be three. Listen, there'll be 3 color lands, and I think that probably sends the price on them climbing, even if it doesn't impact. Even if they, you know, that doesn't become a new thing, or you know, whatever. Just the hype of Eldrazi are back. Colorless Mana moves cards all the time. And I think that these lands will fit into that vein at some point in the next few years.
Emrakul's going to be a Phyrexian colorless card.
Maybe that. All right, Jason, finish it out. What do you got this week?
I gotta have a pick of the week. I did Breaking Bulk.
Yeah, man. We ask a lot of you around here.
You ask a lot of me, and I'm asking a lot of you. I'm asking you to pay $3 for a card that buy lists for $3. Can you find it in your hearts as an MTG finance appreciator to go pay $3 for a card that buy lists for $3? What's that card? It's in 30,000 decks on EDH Rec. That's what it is. It's Gaia's Cradle on a stick. It's Circle of Drims. Droid.
Something about a druid, maybe?
Droids.
Mm-hmm.
This is the druid you're looking for. It taps for a mana for each creature you control. That's pretty good if you got lots of creatures. Hey, it's an elf and a droid. Are elf decks popular? I don't know. Is an elf deck like the number 3 most built deck this week, despite getting like 3 new cards in the last 6 months? I don't know. I do know that you want a Gaia's Cradle. So this is a Gaia's Cradle, and it's $3, and it buy lists for $3. Something's wrong.
Yeah. I think this is a good call. This is from, what, Midnight Hunt is this set?
It's
from
it's AFR.
Adventures in
from
Forgotten
AFR.
Realms, Dungeons and Dragons.
Corbin, listening to this
Mazes
flavor
and
text, and
monsters.
you tell me it's from Innistrad.
Okay,
The
let's
realms
hear it.
protected by the druids of the Circle of Dreams are gleaming, fruitful places where dream and reality blur together, and the weary can find rest. Tell me that's Innistrad.
Just kidding. Vampires and werewolves are real, and you live in like 1520s Bavaria with pitchforks. For
Yeah,
some
I don't
reason.
think they got any, that's not,
Why?
that doesn't fit. That
Imagine
doesn't fit on Midnight Hunt.
walking from Kaladesh and seeing like futuristic flying craft and just going back to Innistrad and be like, oh yeah, I love these thatched roofs. Like, take some tech, bro. Like, if you gave electricity to Innistrad, they would be murdering vampires with like repeating crossbows within like minutes.
And now that you've suggested that, Wizards can't use it as the
That was gonna be
story
the
for
next-
Innistrad 5. Like, what, it's been almost
a
a year.
Terminator planeswalks over.
It's been almost a year since we've been to Innistrad. You know that they have it contractually obligated that we must return every other year.
I'm
at
just
most.
I
picturing-
just
So,
love that Innistrad just exists. It's a bunch of people just like they're subsistence farmers, and there's this is like Urza fighting in mech suits, and there's like magic on other planes, and they're like, "Well, I invented this. It's called a steak. You can kill a vampire with it." It's just so funny to me that there was like a fucking smuggler's copter and shit. There's like giant airships that can blast.
yeah, the
creatures.
boat console flagship. Yep.
I'm just picturing like Ral Zarek planeswalking back to Innistrad and getting like beset by a mob of angry farmers because he has a lightning cannon on his arm, and they just
Yeah.
crucify Ral Zarek and torture him. Get that gristle
he's-
brain shit off your arm.
He's a heretic. He's using the devil's magic.
It's like the movie Prey, right? Where they just take a predator and you stick them in any time period, and it makes for a good story. That's
Corbin,
Innistrad,
the
bro.
movie's called Predator 2. It's not called Prey. It's called Predator 2. You think
All
the
right,
sequel to Predator was called Prey? That's so dumb.
Okay, you're
Danny
right.
Glover
You're right.
fought a predator in New York City.
It should have been called Now You Don't. Now you see me too.
The Now You series. Oh. That's cuttable, but that's very funny.
Nah.
Corbin, look it up. Danny Glover.
All right, man. I'll look
He
that
fought
up.
a
I'll look
predator
that
in New
up.
York.
Yeah.
It's not called Prey. You're
All right,
embarrassing
I
yourself.
appreciate that. I'll look that up. Speaking of, though,
You should really watch Predator 2, though. It's very bad.
speaking of other things you can, put into the magic world here, Mark Rosewater, would others like to see a space fantasy magic set as opposed to a Universes Beyond one? Now, some would argue that Kaladesh was already sort of this, futuristic technology
By
space world.
some, he means me, and I literally argued it to a guy who complained on Twitter, but go on.
Well, let's hear it, Jason. Let's hear what your thoughts are on a space set besides Unfinity, which is currently delayed until some point in the future.
Warhammer 40K.
Fair enough, I think.
Aren't they doing that?
Yes, they sure
Yes.
the fuck are, so why are you complaining
Yes.
about Star Wars? Oh, you're telling me that magic isn't all fantasy and sometimes there's planes and cars and shit? Yeah, that's exactly what. There's literally cars in New Capenna. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you mad about?
Magic
They can do
is
whatever
so
they
much.
want.
Yeah.
You're mad about, I don't want futuristic shit. I want magic to be real. You know why? Nobody invents, the electric tea kettle when magic's real. I get it. That's the whole conceit behind steampunk. They're like, well, steam's good enough for us. Let's just steam all the time. You just gotta have lots of tubes on your arm. It's fine. My cell phone is steam powered.
All right. And on that note, I want to thank DJ for being here to podcast. I want to thank all of you for being here to listen. I want to thank myself for getting through tonight. I want to thank anyone else we want to throw out, DJ?
Wait, I mean, you're not going to thank Jason?
I didn't listen to Jason for an hour. I listened to him for the past 4 hours. I was going to get it there. Save that for the end because Jason's been on this podcast for 3-4 hours now.
What?
I wasn't here a couple weeks ago, though. So.
Dragging us all along for the ride. He wasn't. He missed one episode, and now he's like every podcast 3 hours.
We
I'm
got
really
on it.
sorry for being the guy on this cast who's entertaining. I'm really sorry. You would think that would be a burden to me, and I would be the one who was resentful about having to carry the weight of 3 people in terms of entertainment. But no, I'm inflicting making this cast listenable on you. Corbin Hostler, you have to listen to me, be funny and charming. I'm really sorry. That sounds like a trial. Imagine what my wife goes through.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Corbin.
I apologize for you being offended by a thing I said. I'm sorry you couldn't handle it.
And on that note, everybody, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
On that note.
Have fucking fun.
On that brown note.
Leave that in. Have fucking fun editing that one.